So it's currently about 11:26 a.m. on a Friday morning, January the 26th, 2018. I woke up around, I don't know, 8, 9 a.m. this morning. I slept. Honestly, I don't know how if I slept good at all, to be honest. You know, I'm gonna stop monitoring how I sleep if I wake up. I'm gonna ask myself, I had that habit of like saying, oh, I only slept this much, I only slept that much, and it's like it's that habit I picked up ever since I started having anxiety. I meant when I say having anxiety, I meant having higher level of anxiety. Everyone has anxiety. Without anxiety, you're not gonna you're not gonna survive. What I mean by high level of anxiety is that you're panic. You get panic attacks. You get panic disorder and stuff like that. With normal level of anxiety, you get a little nervous when you're doing something new, when you're moving to a new city, new state. How you go to a let's say for example, if when you were a kid, you go to elementary school. When I was young, when I went to elementary, it was only kindergarten to fifth grade. The middle school was 6, 7, 8, and there's some elementary school that goes from kindergarten all the way to sixth grade. So you stay there for 6 years, and then you go to middle school for 2 years. So every time you go to a new school, you get nervous. So that's like the normal level of anxiety, but you don't get panic attacks. You just get nervous. That's a normal level of anxiety. But if you have a panic disorder and then you go to a new school, you're going to actually have panic attacks at that new school because you were somewhat used to being at the other school that you were, because you were there for like 5 or 6 years. So like that's why I meant by normal level of anxiety and panic disorder with higher level of anxiety. Because without anxiety, you're not gonna survive, especially if you don't have the normal level uh, of anxiety, and you say, oh, I wish I never had anxiety. Just imagine, if you're walking down the street and the light is red, and then you should stop. But without anxiety, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't care, I'm just gonna go. These cars have to stop even though the light is green for them to go. In your mind, you're like, oh, I don't care, you're just gonna keep going. With anxiety, you know with normal level of anxiety, your brain is gonna automatically say, hey, light is red, you need to stop. With below normal level of anxiety, your brain's like, oh, light is red, no cars coming, I'm just gonna go. With high level of anxiety, the light is yellow. When you press when it says walk, and then you have like 5 seconds, and then you still have a long way to go to cross the street, guess what? You're gonna have a panic attack because anxiety is your anxiety level is high. That's what I mean by high level of anxiety. So you need to have anxiety to survive. It's just that you don't want that high level of anxiety. You don't want that below level of anxiety or no anxiety, or you want that normal level of anxiety. Another example, let's say um, you walk you have a friend, a coworker, a sibling, a cousin, or whatever that likes to prank you, likes to scare you. If you have a normal level of anxiety, and that person hit inside a box and came out and spooked you, what are you gonna do? You're gonna jump, and your heart most likely will race. And then what you're gonna say? You're probably gonna say, hey, yeah, you got me, you got me, you scared me, blah blah blah. Don't do that again. Then your heart calms down. You act like nothing happens. That's with normal level of anxiety. Without, if you have below level of anxiety or no anxiety at all, someone tries to scare and they just like try to scare you, you might not even react. You're gonna just like, what was that? You know, were you trying to scare me? If a car comes close to you, almost hits you, you won't even get scared. That's with no anxiety. But let's say that person that scared you and you have a panic disorder, that person scare you, you will actually get scared. You're gonna have a panic attack there, right? And every time you see that person, you're gonna automatically think that person is gonna always wants to scare you. You know, but that's like a panic. That's a high level of panic. That's a high level of anxiety. You know, whenever you see that person, you're gonna he or she or they are gonna be a trigger to you. You know, that's what I meant. So yeah, you don't want to actually have no anxiety. You just want normal level of anxiety. So never say, oh, I don't want anxiety at all, because if you don't have it, you're gonna randomly do things that might hurt yourself or hurt others. And you know, anyways, later I'm gonna go for a walk right now. Is like I say, I'm sitting in my backyard. The sun is like right behind me, and I'm like kind of I can't really see, even though the sun's behind me, but the reflection of the sun is like on my face still. I'm about to go for a walk, not too far, just around the block. You know, how am I feeling? You know what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling now. I'm gonna try my best not to really get into much details on how I'm feeling, because you know I'm gonna feel uncomfortable. You know, when I go for walks. To me, it's better when you go for your exposure. I mean, your I can't say the word right now because I'm so tired. But you know, when you're going out and trying to um, live your life how it works, like your normal state of anxiety, you know, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. But the best thing to do is go out when you're uncomfortable. It's not easy, but think about it this way: if you're going out when you're comfortable, and let's say you say, once you wake up, oh, I feel comfortable, I feel well rested, I don't feel panicky, anything like that, I better go for a walk right now or a drive or wherever before I get uncomfortable. Guess what? um, by doing so, you're in your mind, you're gonna start like every block you step away from your house or wherever your safe zone is, you know, you're gonna feel that part of your mind is going to slowly creep up on you, like, oh, he's getting farther and farther away, let's hurry up and make him panic, him or her make him panic, so you can run back. But the thing is, if you go outside when you're calm, that's how what happens. But when you go outside when you're nervous, you're uncomfortable, you know, and you're able to walk a block or two, three away, by the time you know it, you're gonna go from uncomfortable to comfortable, and then you're gonna be able to walk it because you already had that uncomfortable feeling. But when you're going outside for walks, bike rides, car rides, for a drive, whatever, you know, you feel uncomfortable. By the time you feel uncomfortable, most of the time you want to run back home, and then you just gonna make yourself more uncomfortable. But you know, that's what I learned. When I started leaving my house, I would do it when I was comfortable, and then once I felt uncomfortable, I start running back home, and then it made it each day made it harder for me to leave. So I start leaving later and later on the day. But once I allow myself to leave when I'm uncomfortable, the more I feel uncomfortable, the sooner I feel comfortable, if that makes sense. So you have to make yourself uncomfortable to be comfortable. You know, a lot of people does things that they're uncomfortable with, but they don't know they're uncomfortable with it till they do it. And once they do it, they will get comfortable with it. But when you do something you're comfortable with, and out of nowhere you get uncomfortable, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I was comfortable with it. Why am I not comfortable with it at all anymore? So that's what, yeah, I tell you, that's in your mindset. You have to remember, you know, you most likely when you didn't have high level of anxiety, you most likely you have done something that you were uncomfortable with, and then you got comfortable with, or you did something that you've been comfortable with for so long, and then out of nowhere you feel uncomfortable, and then you're like asking yourself, why do I feel uncomfortable? You know, I've done the same thing, so I know how it is, and I'm I'm correcting my mindset right now, like from feeling uncomfortable. I mean, from feeling comfortable to allow myself to feel uncomfortable. Because before I start having high level of anxiety, I used to do things that would have made me feel panicky right now. So like I say, I never had panic attacks till so in May 2016. Once I got one panic attack, and then I'm like, okay, this was extremely uncomfortable. And then I had another one about half an hour to 45 minutes later, and then once that passed, I'm like, well, what was that? And then a couple of days later, I was like, I didn't have any. And then one day I had another panic attack, and then I start getting more uncomfortable, and then I stopped doing things I was comfortable with, because things I was doing was making me uncomfortable. Things like going to work, going to the mall, going to the store, just going out, you know, things that you shouldn't feel uncomfortable with was making you, or making myself uncomfortable. So once you get uncomfortable, you tell yourself over and over, your subconscious mind will know that you're uncomfortable in these places, around this person, around this time. Like for example, if I say I get panic attacks around, 1:45, once I had to go, like, get ready to go pick up my daughter, I'm gonna always look at the time and say, oh no, it's 1:45, time for me to panic. It's like my subconsciously, I will remember 1:45 equals panic attacks, but my mind doesn't know that 1:45 is doesn't mean I should panic. I could, it's just because I'm telling myself I should panic at 1:45. Anyways, it feels pretty hot right now. I mean, we're still in the middle of winter, but it's hot. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like spring, and spring is coming up, but it feels like it is actually spring already. But this past spring 2017, I was hanging out in my backyard, and even 2017, towards the last month and a half of summer, I was hanging out in my backyard around this town, and it feels good, allowing the sun to shine in my face, maybe not white in my face, but just allowing the sun to set on my skin. It feels good. Anyways, I'm gonna go for a walk right now and head back home and eat my lunch.